Tier 2, Tier 3 cities are not so much open about accepting dating.
You were a founding designer at a company called FRND. So when they reached out to you, did they need a designer for some specific reason?
I designed their first MVP. We had timeline of around 15 days. And also when the MVP launched, it got some good feedback from the users.
Developers are your best friends. Everything is decided कि bandwidth कितनी लगेगी.
I remember when I joined from a perspective that I'll only focus on the design part. But slowly I understood as a whole product, when it is out there in front of public, everything needs to be connected.
छोटा सा brief introduction दे दो अपना कि who are you, where are you now, where were you before. I noticed on LinkedIn कि you were a founding designer at a company called FRND, which is one of the dating websites जो बहुत ही अलग है.
I did my design education from NICC Bangalore, which is a design college. So during my college itself, I started working as an intern at a studio called Spread, where I started in my second year. And by the time our college got over, around after third year, we were supposed to all start our full-time job somewhere. So Think Design was a very right place for me that time. And I joined Think Design and worked on a lot of projects from ground up. I always used to feel there I want to start in a company or build a product from scratch, from ground zero. And luckily I got a chance then to join FRND. So after Think Design, I joined FRND as a full-time designer, where I started contributing from ideation to experimenting on the product and then scaling their product from 0 to 1. Almost worked there for 4 years, officially, unofficially you can say, but till January 2023. After that, I joined Tekion and currently working at Tekion as a senior product designer.
How did you discover this company, FRND?
So one of the founder reached out to me and they wanted me to help on their first initial concept. And they were making like a dating app for tier 2, tier 3 cities, like the next internet user from Bharat. They had these insights that tier 2, tier 3 users still don't use Facebook to connect with people. They can be opposite gender talking to each other. They can be friends talking to each other. Tier 2, tier 3 cities are not so much open about like dating or accepting dating. It was a subtle way to pitch that it is more like a friendship app. From day one, the idea of creating a dating app was always there. I said like, okay, let's go for working on a freelance project. I designed their first MVP where the whole UI, the whole initial concept was designed, which was very quick. We had to do within, I think, we had timeline of around 15 days. During that whole designing phase, I understood what the product is, what they were trying to do.
When these guys reached out to you, who were the people in the team when they reached out to you? What made you join as a founding designer here?
Think Design, what used to happen is like for 3 months or 6 months, I was intact with that product while designing, but few experiences were there where we used to come back to that product and redesign it. That was major reason for me to look for a place where I can join a team from zero and be the part of the journey. The founder team was like 3 people. There was one who was taking care as a CEO, the other one was product manager, and third one was a CDO who was basically taking care of the app development, right? I enjoyed the journey that whatever I was making, it was going in the product, it was getting implemented. And also when the MVP launched, it got some good feedback from the users, good feedback from the community. It gave me a feel that, yeah, this is how usually a startup works and this is a good place, can be a good place for me. So I thought of like joining them as a full-time.
So when they reached out to you to help building the app, did they need a designer for some specific reason which they communicated to you, or they need a designer because they thought that हर कंपनी में एक डिजाइनर तो चाहिए होता है तो एक डिजाइनर हायर कर लेते हैं?
So what they did is they had even this whole flow sketched out on their on paper कि first launching में कैसा screen दिखेगा, उसके बाद वो user click करेगा तो वो कहाँ जाएगा. Everything was already documented in with them. Right? They had the entire flow. And they want somebody who can help them with the visual.
Okay. And were you like the first person? Did they reached out to you?
No. So there were a lot of people they reached out.
Achha.
And when I spoke to them later on, that what made them even go ahead with me, what they liked was that visually things were looking good, which was looking clean, simple, and I also heard from them later that they were not only working with me, they had few people, but they were not getting fast execution because their founders had this idea that we don't want somebody to interfere or bring any hurdle in the execution.
Okay.
We want somebody to make the visual as soon as possible. We have the wireframe. But they said that they were designers who got onboarded, but they were trying to reinvent the whole idea. They were suggesting something else to do. So they wanted to execute things fast. And that was the only reason I think they liked the idea of moving ahead. My idea over there was also that I'm new to them, right? I was not there when they actually thought of this idea. So suddenly bringing my expertise or my feedback when they're executing becomes little again a hurdle in the execution. And at Think Design, I learned that you need to be very fast and you need to not keep reinventing ideas or figuring out something, right? You whatever is looking good, just make it fast and take initial feedback.
How did your role matured over the 4 years? What were you looking at in the first year, second year, third year, fourth?
I remember when I joined, right? I joined from a perspective that I'll only focus on the design part. But slowly I understood as a whole product, when it is out there in front of public, out there in front of our users, target audience, everything needs to be connected. There were discussions that we built this screen perfectly, the whole flow is perfect, but we still see there's a user drop, right? And when they used to call up these users, we never used to be able to find out those reasons. And this used to be a discussions over the table, but we didn't know how to go ahead and fix it, right? There I felt that my role is not only just designing, also to be a part of user research, to be a part of testing the product before launch. And I started going out and looking out that where we can do a testing. So I went to the mall, and while exiting, I took an exit from the backside of that mall.
Achha.
There I saw a huge crowd of people during the lunch hour. They're just hanging out, and these were basically people who were working staff in the mall, in some store, some place. And I felt like this is a very good opportunity to just talk to them. Like mostly men were open to talk, and women were not ready to have that conversation. So there was one intern in our office, so I asked her to accompany me, and when you're trying to talk to a woman, at least go with a woman with you, or a woman designer or a woman researcher is better to interact with because they are comfortable interacting. And plus we were talking about dating, and we're talking about a dating app. It is again people are not open about it. So we noticed a lot of things. There were a lot of insights. How they search the app, what text do they write in the search bar to search this app, and then what do they even before downloading, what do they read on the Play Store specifically, right? So even while installing, they were reading a lot of things on the image. Some people were trying to open the app images and see. Some were just reading the name of the app, and they understood what is this app about. So my focus started becoming on the app store screenshot to mobile app, to how users click on the app, how the interactions are happening, how the motion of the app screens are there, which that initial phase gave me a reason to not just become a designer, but also be a part of other role and take more in charge, because I was the only designer in the team, and it's a small team, so we can't expect that there will be a specialist for every role, right? I started looking at ads also. Then my discussion started with the developer that how we can improve the process of designing and delivering. Why sometimes designs take a lot of time to develop. Why there are problems, why there are inconsistency in the app after the development. Initially, I was not a part of even testing the product after the development. The QA used to happen with one of the PM. But then gradually I also became a part, because I thought if we just release things without fixing small things, it can become a problem, right? And it used to pile up later on that there were so many problems in the app which we just ignored during the launch. Then slowly in the third year, we thought let's build a design system, because we lack consistency in the product.
What do you think some of the disadvantages of working at an early stage company where you are the only designer?
मेरे को जो feedback मिलता था, right? So these feedback were not constructive. I used to get feedback that
dude, like this is not looking good. But now, where should I start with again? Should I restart with the design? Should I fix something else or what? So again, that construction was very difficult. Feedback. So you also sometimes talk to your peers and ask them what they feel, and maybe sometimes you are putting extra hours to even figure out those feedback from somebody who is outside your company, right?
Right.
Those take again lot of effort from you. So
Yeah.
plus everything was in a very tight like a deadline.
Okay.
So because we are trying to think of idea on a Monday, and by Thursday or Friday we want it to be live on the app. We
Achha.
don't have time to do iteration. We don't have time to fix few things, right?
Okay.
So I used to show design faster. Even if the flow is there, I used to sketch out that flow and give the handoff those flow to them so that they can go through, they can think, they can put some time and give me final feedback while I'm designing the UI of the flow, right? But again, it becomes very hectic for somebody to continuously do for very long.
When you were in the first year, right, what core metrics did you use to measure, and then did they change? I mean, the metric changed over the years. Was something included, excluded in your 4-year journey?
How many users are downloading and how many are onboarding? How many are successful onboarding and how many are not successful onboarding? If somebody is using, what is their success metric which can bring them again next day? Right? User drop off, like where all they're dropping off on the whole journey, right? Then for how long they're using it, right? Like duration. If somebody is using for 10 minutes, somebody is using for 15 minutes, somebody is using for a whole day. So we used to also figure out those data, and we used to discuss that why those things are happening. Again, figuring out what made them use this for 10 minutes or what they made them use for 20 minutes. Like how many people are getting blocked in the app because it was like a dating app. So we used to also calculate how many people are getting blocked because of their misbehavior or any misconduct in the app. They used to also get blocked. So we used to discuss those things. How many, especially women users, are onboarding. So we used to compare that ratio, that how many portion of women users are there in the platform and how many are male users, and what are the differences. And when even women users are using, how many matches they meet every day compared to how many matches a male user meets.
Got it. You used to deliver very fast, like Monday को discussion किया तो Thursday तक जाना चाहिए था. How did you ensure to improve the quality of the design you're pushing in terms of the process, in terms of the UI you are pushing?
When continuously working like this in the speed, we found that our app is somewhere lacking that consistency or visual style consistency, design overall, and it was looking like a mix of a lot of things, right? Consistency. So I asked the dev, like, can you document some items which have multiple variations? So example, like a back arrow or a CTA, there were multiple variation across the product. Slowly we moved to creating a design consistency by creating a design system. When I initially wanted to start a design system, when I spoke to a lot of people across the design community and people who were working in a design system, the feedback were like, you are a solo designer, you really don't need to build a design system because you are working all alone, you don't have a team to work. And that didn't give me a clear motivation. But when I understood what all design system can play a good role in the product building and help developer make things faster, we created, like, we took an initiative, like, let's put some effort to see how we can create a design system. So we created an entire product design system. There were almost that time 2 to 3 developers. So used to pull up individuals like time and ask them, like, can you build this part of the component? Can you build this part of the component? Can you collaborate? There was a lot of conflict. Like they used to say, we are packed with a lot of work. We can't do this. Telling them what is the benefit of doing this? How can this improve their work, right?
Developers are your best friends when you're working at an early stage company because everything is decided कि bandwidth कितनी लगेगी, right? And they are an expensive resource. तो अगर तुमने वहाँ पे अपना झंडा गाड़ लिया तो a lot of things from design's point of view can be implemented as you want.
I can share one more thing around this. Very good experience with the developer. So sometimes what used to happen is sometimes some feature used to go as in the backlog because while they were starting developing,
they found this is not possible, or it might take more effort, right? Why do you feel this is taking a lot of time? What is the easiest way? Like, what is the shortcut way to implement this, right? So suppose there is a particular CTA which needs extra animation, which need extra effort. I used to ask them, can you suggest an alternative? Let's align somewhere in the middle ground and fix it. Again, I remember one of the animation I did, it got completely rejected on board. Like, it is going to take a lot of effort because that animation has little fan. And these developers were also not very experienced, or maybe like they're not coming with other experience from other companies. They are also
They're also freshers.
Freshers, right? So I collaborated with them to understand, like, when you create a basic animation, what are basically what all attributes you put inside that individual component to move it, right? So when I asked them, I started converting those animation into a technical language. So basically, example, when it is moving from A to B, I was explaining that it is moving from this position to 20 pixel on top, and then it is getting dissolved, right? So you just reduce opacity, simple. So that gave them a easy understanding, because I'm trying to explain them technically
in their language, visually, not just visually.
Right. And that, so I remember over 2 days we sat, and overnight we figured out and we developed the entire animation. It was one of the fastest experience, and it went so smooth. There was less even less bugs in that, because we sat together, we discussed each and every technical move in that, and we started executing. So there was less errors. It was scaling across the app.
Nice. Good example of developer design collaboration. Who were the founders? What were their names? What were their backgrounds?
Bhanu was taking care of the company in charge. He was the CEO of the company. Harsh was taking care of the product management, and Hardik Bansal, who was taking care of the company product development. He was the CTO of the product company.
Who did you kind of work with most? How was your relationship with all these people?
Most of my collaboration used to happen with Harsh, and also after every design we used to do, there were a lot of collaboration happening with the CEO itself, also Bhanu, Harsh and Bansal. They used to all give their individual feedback. I used to sometimes there were requirements which used to come directly from Bhanu or Harsh, and then we used to work on it. So it was kind of quite a good open friendly relation, because so initially when I was designing first phase, I remember those time Harsh used to come and visit my place, and we used to sit down on my at my place and used to design. So because even they didn't have their office set up, they all were working from home, and they used to visit me after my office hours. So almost the late evening times were together, just doing brainstorming ideas, also discussing something off work, and just being more friendly. So that kind of a friendship was there.
कभी तो ऐसा हुआ होगा कि there would be very divergent ideas you guys both have, right? How did you guys manage those kind of situations?
So I had a very different way. Basically, what I used to do is, if there's a conflict, I never used to speak out at that moment. I used to take time to take feedback or whatever the point of view that person has about that work or that feature or about anything. And after taking that, maybe put some more time to even think what that person mindset is, what his or her expectations, and then later I used to get back on my point of view, instead of directly arguing on both. Because I have always been in this manner. I don't have to always bring out my point. I always thought, because somebody who is taking a decision or who is putting up their point of view, they also have a good motive to bring that observation or that feedback, right?
Makes sense.
So that was how I used to.
Tell me, like, one thing that you learned from each of your founder.
One thing I learned from the founder surrounding is that working with founders, they were very fast to execute something on the product. They were very fast to take a feedback and take a decision that if this is working out, let's move ahead. If this has a scope to improve and then it will work out, let's put that effort and quickly do iteration on it and then fix it. And one thing is from the developer friend, basically company CTO, what I learned was that everything is possible. So we will get it done, right? Whatever the idea you come up with, we'll get it done. So that was something which I learned.
You have worked at an design agency, right? You have for some time worked as a freelancer also for FRND only. You have worked at FRND now, and now you're working at Techion, right? Which is like a big, large company with big teams, right? And you have some experience of like a couple of months of experience of working at Techion now. Now, combining all these experiences that you have had, let's say tomorrow there is a founder who wants to hire you as a founding designer for your company, not the previous guys that you have worked with, some new person you don't know. How would you, with your current experiences, evaluate the founder or the company, whether you want to join them or not?
I'll look for somebody, a founder who is experienced in building a product, because I've already worked with founders who are the first time founders. Also a place where they are open to expand the team, because I have worked as a solo designer, but I feel when you are a company who are open to expand the team and have more people from the same design community, if they're building a design team, it always improves the product experience, right? It always impacts the product.
Cool, man. Thanks for your time. It was an amazing conversation. You are very passionate about building products and the company that you work for. That's a good trait. How was your experience? How did you like this discussion?
Really nice. Something I think I'm not spoken about all these things from very long.
Okay.
And talking about and recalling all my past experience. So it was a nice discussion overall.